Hey Tyson,
Hey,
you want to go to the island.
yes, I do want to go to the island.
That's the topic of today's one time only. So, talk about that, Tyson, because on this last episode of One Time Only, did you get halfway through the first time you watched it? Where did you stop?
Well, after rewatching it, or essentially watching it for the first time, I realized that I had probably gotten about more than halfway, like maybe between 60 and 75% into it. But
Were
it
they
was
were they at
literally,
were they at the bar? Were they at the bar yet?
oh, the take a dump in a can
Yeah,
bit.
were they there?
Yes, I believe I had gotten to the action sequence of pushing giant spools off of the
Michael, and
truck.
then yeah, Michael Bay was in his element.
Yeah, when he started turning up the Michael Bay juice, basically, the yeah, what he's
Yeah,
known
yeah,
for.
yeah, exactly, exactly. He's like, let me get in.
Hmm. I will say I have. Sorry.
let me do random shit and blow
Well, it's always
things
a
up.
chase. You got to do a chase again. You got to. How do we heighten the chase?
Yeah,
And it's like
don't you love the black wasps? You know
oh, the little
the
probe things.
no the
What?
little black
What am I
wasp
thinking?
the vehicles that were like you know what I'm talking about, right? They were a little above ground, but they were a little above the road, and
I
they
barely.
were zooming through the black
Uh, no, I
black
barely remember that.
vehicles.
For some reason, I don't. It didn't stick in my mind. I
Anyways,
noticed a bunch of stuff. Well, it sounds cool. I'll have to look for it on the next time I watch it.
yeah. So, what was your thoughts on the movie?
Well, boy, there's a few here and there. It was, yeah. So I think it's a well-made film. Um, it works visually. It does seem like there's occasionally a filter being used on people's skin, but it doesn't bother me because it's sci-fi. So things, it sort of matches the overall uh, look of it. I like that it's a pastiche of things we've seen before, like almost an homage to this genre of almost utopia or dystopia. Like there's stuff in there that's right out of Metropolis, which is over 100 years old, and it's like the flying cars having specific lanes.
Well,
You
yeah,
know,
it got some lawsuits after.
really specifically, like, well, I mean,
Some
who sued them?
1970 movie, or yeah, it was like
Oh, was it Clonus?
it was done be like the gimmick was done before.
Oh yeah,
So
absolutely.
for those that don't know what the island is, because the movie was 19 years ago. So basically what it is rich people, they want to extend their lives, so they get these clones
Mhm.
made. They go into this underground bunker, and they get scanned, and then they
They grow
get
them.
their clones. Yeah, their DNA, and then it creates a clone. And then what happens is Lincoln 6 Echo. You
Hmm.
were the first one to really try to, figure shit out, is what basically what the guy said. So Lincoln Six Echo
Interesting.
starts to ask questions like the bacon, why is there,
Yeah,
why can't we get bacon? Why are we wearing white all the time? So they're wearing like white jumpsuits,
it's pretty funny. I mean,
and
I mean,
basically um a randomizer, meaning whenever the person that got the clone needs their body parts after a surgery or injury, the clone goes to the island, and then they bring them up to the medical, and then they take yeah, they go to the island, hence take their requested organs.
right. They're being farmed for parts, for spare parts and whatnot. It's pretty interesting. So yes, the clones are referred to as an insurance policy, which is real fun. A-
Yeah.
and and it is it's interesting because it is I wouldn't even say it's a fun concept. It's actually a very grim concept, but it's a very fun presentation for the most part of a very grim concept. Like there are, moments in it that are truly heart-wrenching and harrowing, where it's like, oh no, 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 I feel terrible. And then it's like, well, yeah, but it's obviously it's you're not supposed to feel great about what's going on. And the
Yeah.
island, by the way, specifically is the island is the fiction that keeps all of these clones like that gives them a goal, gives them something to look forward to. And it turns out it's really just means their time's up. It's Carousel, if you've ever seen Logan's Run, basically, or which is another movie
Hmm.
that this kind of like, does. Have you ever seen THX 1138 or any of the other films, some of the other films that it kind of like borrows from or makes homage to?
No, just the island, man.
Okay, cool. Oh yeah, and Parts. It was called
Yeah.
Parts: The Clonus Horror, which was actually a Mystery Science Theater movie that I still haven't seen, which is odd because I like Mystery Science Theater 3000 a lot, and I feel like I need to see it now. And also, I believe it had Raul Julia in it, so it was like big
Well,
deal at the time. I think. Hmm.
this movie starred Ewan McGregor,
Yep.
Scarlett Johansson. She was like
Oh yes.
23, like super young. I think
Mm-hmm.
maybe one of her first feature films. Um, so like
Could
big.
be. Yeah, sounds right.
And what happened was they bombed the release. It did not do good in the United States. A lot of people didn't know it came out. I actually did watch it in theaters.
Mm-hmm.
My two brothers, and my dad and I went to the movie theater and
Nice.
watched it. And I was into it from the beginning. I love the movie. I think it's great. It's a little corny, which makes sense, and a little over the top, the
It,
gimmick, but
it works though. I mean,
but I
it's.
like I like
Hmm.
how they go like to sector. This is sector 5, which is the guy what's his name? What's the name of the guy that sneaks Ewan McGregor up to sector 5 and ends up getting him the bus passes and cash?
Steve Buscemi.
Yeah.
I believe it's
Yeah.
Buscemi.
Yeah. He was
Mr.
really good.
Pink from Reservoir Dogs for
Yeah,
some people.
yeah,
He's in
yeah.
lots of things.
Well,
Lots of things.
he was the technician. He worked, he
Yeah.
was the resident technician.
He's always like, "Oh God, you guys."
Yeah.
What?
When
Yeah.
they were basically, yeah, releasing the product.
Seemed like a good dude. Seemed like a
Yeah,
guy who's like,
and then he gets shot at, they're trying to find him, and
well, of course. I mean, but he gets shot because the reason why he gets shot, like, I mean, not necessarily story wise, but like movie wise, like as a piece of visual narrative, is we have to understand that what they're willing to do, the stakes, and also if we don't see him die on screen, we can assume he died off screen. But we see him die on screen, we don't think about it again. We go, well, that tied up that narrative thread, and then we psychologically move on to see what happens with the rest of the characters. So it's like oh, bummer. But yeah, I mean, they had to finish that story part. That tied it up. I would say nicely, but obviously it's not nice. Poor guy just trying to
so
help a
they
couple of clones.
escape.
Partially, yeah. They start to escape.
They
The
escape.
escape starts like at about like what is it? It's a 2 hour movie.
Yeah,
Uh, sorry,
yeah,
I'm
some
not
of
trying
that.
to. That's 136 minutes, so that's an
Yeah.
hour and 2 hours and 16 minutes. So they start to escape about a half hour in, I think.
So what was your
Is that
favorite part of the movie
my favorite part? Oh God.
before we get to
Oh
the end and talk about the end and everything?
yeah, I definitely had favorite parts, and I probably had at least a couple favorite parts, or a couple of least favorite parts. But I definitely had like, if I thought I'm gonna say a favorite part is I thought it was pretty funny uh when Lincoln Six, what is
Echo.
it? When Lincoln Six
I've seen this movie like 10
seen it a few
times, by
times.
the way.
Okay.
Yeah, 10 times. So
So when
I have a lot of it memorized.
when Clone Ewan McGregor meets the guy who bought
Oh
the
yeah,
insurance
that's great.
policy,
That's
and
great.
he's
Yeah.
like they're having a long talk, and he's trying to figure out why he talks funny, and he's and because Ewan McGregor as Lincoln Six does not have a Scottish accent. In fact, he has kind of like yeah, sort of has my accent, where it's like trying to be as neutral as possible, so you don't really sound like you come from anywhere in particular.
Yeah.
But like, it's like, oh, why aren't we allowed to have bacon? It's like
Yeah.
it sounds like a guy who's European putting on an American accent,
Yeah.
but doing pretty well, pretty
Why
well.
you why? Why you talk like that? You know,
Yeah. Well, how do you talk
talk
like that? He
like
said,
that.
oh, because I'm Scottish. And it's like, yes, you are. You very much are Scottish. So yeah, because I've always liked.
It's like
I first.
you're walking around with that. Sex? You haven't had sex with that?
Oh yeah, that's pretty funny. Yeah.
They try to get to the I like I said, I have the whole movie memorized. I can tell you from start to finish. I've seen it so many times.
So could you tell me like so did you see Armageddon?
Yeah,
Another Michael Bay
yeah,
movie. I have
yeah,
seen
yeah.
about half of Michael Bay's movies, I'd say, probably if not
Hmm.
more, because I have seen them. But like, isn't the lady that Steve Buscemi's character is married to? Isn't that the same actress who played the stripper in Armageddon? The one he's
Probably.
like, she comes back and he's like, oh, baby, I
Oh
want to have
yeah.
babies.
Yeah. And
Like, I
the
think it might be the same lady, or it might not be, but
when
I think it
they're
was.
yeah, when Steve Buscemi has the clones in the house
Hmm.
and he's like, you know the talk that we had
Mm.
to the wife or girlfriend or whoever.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
this is the talk,
It's
meaning
like,
they're doing like illegal shit.
oh, I see.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Well, so
So it
yeah,
got 39%, which is not good on
Rotten
Rotten
Tomatoes.
Tomatoes. Yeah. And
No, that's
it
a
got
slap.
like 5 point what did it get? 5 point something. But it did better overseas than it did in the United States.
Hmm,
So
that makes sense.
it earned 36 million in the United States and 127 overseas. So yeah, a lot better.
I think it would work well as a silent movie, and I think that's probably why it did well internationally, because you can actually just sort of follow what's happening
Well, a lot of
without
people
hearing
didn't
it. I
even
think a
know
lot.
it came out, Tyson. They fucked
Oh,
up
they really?
they fucked up the
Oh,
promotional marketing.
oh,
They
that's
didn't
no
do a
good.
very good job.
Sometimes it happens. Sometimes, and
Yeah.
when it does, it can really kill a film. Like I think
Well,
that's what
they did
happened to.
internationally. They did Warner Brothers, but then domestically they did DreamWorks, and DreamWorks didn't do a good job.
Oh no, and that's Spielberg's company.
Um, what's that?
DreamWorks is Spielberg's company, so you would think that that they'd have. I wonder what happened. I'll have to read more into that.
Yeah. Well,
Maybe.
it
Hmm.
did fourth. It did fourth behind Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Wedding Crashers, and Fantastic Four on the opening weekend.
Which let's see, 2005. So is that the Tim Story Fantastic Four? Yeah, the one that where they sequelized, not the Fant Four Stick, but the ones before
That's
with
the
Chris Evans.
created by Stan Lee,
Yes,
you know, and Jack isn't he didn't he pass away, Stan Lee?
a couple years ago. Yes, at
God rest his soul, you know.
late '90s. Late '90s. He had a good run. Is what they say.
It's one of the greatest names, Stan Lee. I love it.
Yeah,
But
Stan the Man Lee,
not Stanley, Stan
the
Space
Man.
Lee.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know,
I believe is
that was a bad one. All right.
that's
So,
fine.
no, the island, you know, and then
Hmm.
they escape and then the FBI and Merrick, Dr. Merrick, that's his name, the evil guy. He hires he hires some dude that actor who he hires what's his name? Because he's in a lot of movies.
The person who's like the in
The
between.
lead FBI, yeah, the guy
Oh,
that
lead
the
FBI.
Merrick hires this guy who
Oh,
was
Jaimin Hansu. Is it? Was it?
yeah, and
Oh, he's great. Yeah.
he was branded, so he was like part of like Armageddon, like a rebellion
Hmm.
in his
Hmm.
homeland, and that's how he flips over to the clones because he could relate to what they were doing. They were escaping the evil people.
He can relate.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, so he could relate. So eventually, you know, here's my theory. Here's my theory. I know it's wrong, but it would be cool if I think they missed the mark on this, on maybe not giving it away, but I think it's not realistic that he shot the wrong like the clone versus the like regular human.
Mm.
I feel like
Hmm.
they could have told that. I feel like that's when they should have done his turn. Like he did, like show his face and like, you know what I'm saying? Make it where it's
Like
like,
show that he understands that he
yeah,
shot the wrong one and
yeah,
he's cool with it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like
Yeah,
it's make fun of itself.
yeah.
Like it's fiction.
Sure.
Like they
I
could have
mean,
played on to the hokiness a little more. Like, oh, like maybe show his face like before he does
yeah,
it,
yeah.
you know?
You've seen that scene in other films too. Like,
Yeah,
can you
but
can you name the movie
why
where
it
he's
was so
go ahead?
why it was so serious when something that's so like I don't know, that was just a little much.
Why? What was so serious? Which
I
bits?
mean, anyone could tell who the real Ewan McGregor was, right?
Well, I guess who couldn't was well the guy who sent after because I realized that they did actually a lot of clever stuff where they introduce things early that pay off later, and one
No,
of the things they introduce is
I'm talking about the one where he shot the wrong guy.
I am too, but I'm saying who shot the wrong guy is Hansu, right?
Yeah,
The
yeah,
cop guy that
yeah,
was following him. So this
yeah.
guy, what was it? I think I understood the question, but like, would you ask it again, please, so I can hear it again? And
I could you tell who the right one and the wrong one was like while during the
oh,
scene?
like, could I tell?
Yeah,
Well, I mean, we can tell because we saw
we
them
know
get
the
into the different
characters.
clothes, right? Now, I could see why the FBI guy might not know because it wasn't until they got him on the slab that they realized he didn't have the wrist thing, and the cop guy might not have known anything about the whole identification bracelet and the little tattoo that they get, so he might not have been looking for that. Whereas if he knew
Yeah.
about it, he probably would have been looking for it. I'm just filling in a
Yeah,
story hole.
and then there was that little movement that the person did on purpose, the clone did on purpose to make the FBI guy or cop guy think it was the right one when in reality he shot the wrong one.
Mm,
So he did fake him out a little bit.
he
The
did.
movement, Lincoln Six Echo. And then my one of my favorite parts, the whole movie's my favorite, Tyson. I can go on,
It's pretty good.
but but
It's upsetting, but it's good.
and then he like on his toes, um he answers the question for the cop guy immediately. Like, who would believe it? What do you mean that they manufacture, humans or whatever,
Hmm.
Like he goes into self-defense mode.
It's interesting because Lincoln Six, even though
You know what I
these,
mean?
well,
Like he turns
what?
into the human real quick. Like when
Oh,
they ask
sure.
him like after the guy died.
Well, this is what I'm tagging up on. It. He's real bright. Like
Yeah.
for a clone that's only supposed to have like the at least the maturity level of a 15-year-old is something they put out there early. He's smart. Like and that's one of the problems too is that he's the clones are showing signs of having memories of their of well that come from the people
Mm,
that they're cloned of. So like, this guy, this is like what a smart guy could do if he, wasn't out getting, cirrhotic hepatitis or whatever it was killing, the thing that basically his insurance policy was he was going to harvest Lincoln's liver, theoretically, unless
mm.
other things fail first. But I imagine he'd get them all at the same time and be like, well, while you're at it there, well,
Yeah,
no,
Scarlett Johansson's like human was like the equivalent of like Heidi Klum, like a supermodel,
yeah,
you
or like
know.
a Kate Moss or something,
Yeah.
or yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So like
yeah, yeah. That was interesting.
one of my other favorite scenes, I all the scenes are my favorite scenes, so I'm gonna keep saying that. But
Hmm.
a good scene, I mean they're all good, but you get my point. When
Well, it's
Scarlett
interesting. Go ahead.
Johansson's looking at herself, like that big picture in Times Square of
Hmm.
her human,
I remember that.
and she's just like staring at it, and you could just feel the heartstrings.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
like, oh my, like she was facing like she's finally realizing that it was a scam all along.
Yes, there's no island. There's no the
Yeah,
island.
so
Yeah.
you could tell the yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah,
Um,
it does have genuinely good moments in it. Lots
so
of them.
talk about the end. What do you think of the end when he takes himself in on purpose to release everybody when he could have easily just taken over the guy's life and
Oh, sure.
gone away happily ever after?
It's very altruistic. Yeah. I don't know. I thought it's a logical choice. We want him to be a hero because if they don't, if he if they don't, they've caused a lot of collateral damage, and they've uh, and it feels less okay about the people that they are, whose lives they're not going to be saving, but paid an awful lot of money for that to happen. It gives us an excuse to kind of go, well, I guess we like these people more because we've spent time with them, even though they're not the originals. So it was it had it they did do a lot of collateral damage. I'm wondering like how much that like colored people's perception of it at the time, because emotionally the film has a lot of ups and downs. It has some pretty great stuff to look at. It has
Oh
some
yeah.
really terrifying moments, and
Yeah, when they're dragging Michael Clark Duncan.
Duncan, yeah, or when they take the baby from the one woman.
Oh yeah.
That's like the worst. That is the worst
Yeah.
moment in the film, probably.
And the
But like
and
it
the
is
nurse, the
important. Yeah.
nurse,
Oh yeah, with just like
yeah, piece of shit nurse.
just staring at her as she dies, just being
Yeah,
like
that
watching the
was
clock tick down. Well, I don't know if she
yeah,
actually, but just
that was
it's
it.
hard. It's really awful. Yeah, yeah. It's important that
But
they
it's a
have that
movie
kind of thing
though.
in it.
It's a movie. I mean,
Yeah, yeah. No, it's important for its narrative structure to have it
right,
for us to
right. To
understand.
how messed up this is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
Otherwise, it's like,
it
is this
makes you
movie
root
pro
for
clone,
the
anti
yeah,
clone?
it makes you
What?
it makes you root for the protagonist even more.
Hmm. By the way, the movie never really comes down on whether cloning is bad or good. You know what I mean? Like if you
Mm,
think about it, it doesn't say, and this is bad. It also says this particular way we do things is bad.
Well, how they do it is contamination. Like it was
Mm,
contaminated. That's how the whole thing happened. Is that they made them think that the whole world is contaminated and they were saved.
hmm. No, yes.
So
So these cloners are bad, but the idea of cloning in general is still out there. I mean,
yeah.
the idea is can cloning be a good thing? Well, here's a actually people used. I think there was actually a well, the idea of cloning has been around for a long time, but yeah, obviously because they made a movie about this very same thing called Clonus, or parts the Clonus horrors or whatever the hell, like we talked about. So the idea of whether it's a good thing or bad thing or not has kind of been with us for a while. Recently, and I want to say recently, I mean like 10 years ago, 10, 15 years ago, the idea of growing parts by themselves was an issue. Like, because they're like, well, we don't
Mm,
necessarily want to clone humans just to harvest them, do we? Even though they'd be brain dead or whatever. Why don't we just do parts? So, people grew like a ear on the back of a white mouse,
huh.
uh, just because if they could grow that and have the tissue, then they'd have living tissue theoretically to be able to graft an ear onto somebody who needed one specifically. So
Hmm.
that kind of thing happens, and medical things and breakthroughs happen all the time, so it does raise a lot of interesting questions, and also functions as a decent action thriller, I guess you'd say.
Hmm.
It's multifunctional entertainment.
Yeah. So to wrap up the movie,
Hmm.
they escape
They do.
and they release everybody.
Yes.
And then they live happily ever after on Renovatio. What was the guy said? Renovatio?
Something like that.
Renovatio? No, but that part was funny, that scene where it's like Renovatio? Renovat.
Renovadio.
Yeah.
Renovadio.
Yeah, something like that. All right, so the moment of truth,
Hmm.
rated out of 5. Where are we
Out
at?
of where are we at? I'd give it a solid 4.
Oh, it's a 4. I think
Oh.
that's the highest rated entertainment item that we've rated.
um
And a movie is an item. It is. It
is
is.
is is what?
Is a movie an item?
uh
I think it's an
yes.
item.
Movie's an item. Yeah, it's a thing.
Let's ask AI.
Oh, if
What
it's
do
an
you
out, well, go ahead.
I'm gonna ask Gemini actually. There's the Gemini Google.
Mm-hmm.
Is a movie an item?
Hmm.
What do
Searching
you
for
what do you think
item the
it's
movie.
gonna say? Yes,
I'm
a
gonna say it's
movie
yes
can be
because it's a noun.
considered an item in the sense that it is a tangible object or a digital file
Mm-hmm.
that can be bought, sold, or traded.
So that
You remember trading movies
good.
back in the day, Blockbuster, I mean.
Trading them. Oh, you mean like?
Yeah, you could trade. You could trade movies at Blockbuster.
Oh, you mean like for sale kind of thing?
Yeah,
Yeah, oh
you
yeah, yeah.
could.
I never really took advantage of that
I had a
aspect of
buddy
Blockbuster.
that traded movies at Blockbuster.
Mm, that's pretty
Yeah.
cool. I never really got to the trading part of that. I would basically I'd buy the used VHSs, but I never never thought about taking ones that I had and using them for credit or whatever towards new ones. Because for me at that time it was all about just getting more and more rather than
Yeah.
more
Trading
ingoing than outgoing. Yeah.
yeah, trading movies at Blockbuster was a thing.
So used movies then, like you used to buy used VHSs?
Yeah,
What
yeah.
would you say is
So
like the first used VHS that you can remember, among the first, if not the first used VHS that you can remember buying?
like the movie,
Yeah, like you went up to the thing and you found a
um
rack and there's definitely it's got the clamshell, maybe it doesn't.
Pocahontas was my shit, dude. The
Used?
movie Pocahontas, yeah.
Sure, sure. Have you ever heard the wolf cry to the blue corn moon?
No. Should
No,
I?
well that's the song in the movie. So
Yeah,
it's
but Pocahontas,
Pocahontas, the Disney film.
Yeah, that was my shit. I love that movie.
So I haven't seen it yet. It is on Disney
What?
Plus, though I imagine. Yeah, I know. Well, okay. So
1995,
I was 21 that year.
So you probably remember when it came out. I mean,
I was 21 that year, so there was a lot of
Walt Disney, I
this.
mean, yeah, maybe that could be one time only. Pocahontas.
Could be.
That'd be a good one.
I've got Disney Plus. I don't mind. I do tend to like Disney stuff a lot. Like, I mean, the ones that I've seen, I don't know that I have not liked one that I have seen.
Hmm.
Some of them I really like, but I get really emotional
Hmm.
when things work, on me. So like certain stuff, usually Disney does that. They'll make you laugh, they'll make you cry, they make you kiss your money goodbye, but whatever it is. So like Encanto, for
That
example.
sounds like my previous relationships. Make you
Oh,
laugh, make you cry. And then it's over,
I'm
you know?
sorry. Yeah.
But you can't trade well, I guess you can.
Trade them.
Relationships, yeah, you can trade relationships. Break up with
Sure.
somebody and get a new one, you
Yeah.
know?
Oh, okay. Yeah, definitely. I don't have a.
That's like dumping somebody and then,
Yeah,
dating the other person instead of cheating. I mean,
I
people
traded,
cheat
but
and then trade relationships.
oh sure, yeah, they do.
Hmm.
Absolutely. I've definitely traded my relationship with cigarettes for my relationship with bubblegum. So now I chew gum all the time. Not nick a gum either, just chewing. Got to
Hmm.
work my jaw when I'm not
Yeah.
talking. Got a lot of anxiety and tension, so I found the chewing gum is awesome for that.
Hmm. All
Also
right.
keeps saliva going, keeps breaks down
Yeah.
plaque, blah blah blah.
Hmm.
Blah, 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 blah.
All right, Tyson.
Yes,
y-
just
What am I going to listen slash watch, whatever?
experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, if you're in for a treat. I think I said that last time too. What was the last time when I said that? Was it Iron Chef America or Iron Chef Regular?
Yeah,
Okay, so it went Iron Chef Island and then back to me. Okay, just a moment.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Mm,
gonna help your choice.
that was just helping clear. By the way, tonight I am not drinking Snoop wine, although
You have it.
uh, I do still have it. This is actually the same one from
Yeah.
last time. I don't know, remember if you left that in or not. Tonight
I mean,
I
probably.
I am having. Can you guess what that is?
Whiskey? Bourbon?
Yeah, it's bourbon. It's the most basic bourbon there is, and also the most famous basic bourbon. Well, I don't know that it's the most famous, but it's JD. It's
That's what
Jack
I was
Daniel's.
gonna say, actually. I was gonna say Jack Daniels.
Yeah, I don't mind. I like the taste of bourbon. Anyway, so in fact, I have a great song about getting your tongue
I
stuck in it.
also like bourbon.
Do you?
Yeah.
Which one do you like? Do you like JD or do you
Yeah.
have one you like more?
I like Jim,
Jim Beam? Oh, sure, yeah.
You ever had the four wise men?
I have not.
Jim, Jack, Johnny, and what is it?
George?
No, it's Jim,
Oh,
Jack Daniels, Johnny Walker, maybe
and
Jose.
so it's not George? George Dickel?
No, I think it's Jose.
Okay, well, is Jose
Jose
Joe Crow?
Cuervo. No,
Oh,
Jose
okay.
Cuervo. Tequila.
So bourbon, 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 tequila.
I think so.
See,
What?
but George Dickel is at least another bourbon, so it's four wise men of bourbon. That's why I thought you were going with. So, but
Uh,
yes, okay.
Four
So I
Wise Men alcohol. Let's look it up. Hold on.
okay, standing by,
It's a
sitting by.
it's yeah, so four oh, it's four horsemen, not wise men. It's the
Oh,
so four horsemen, Jim, Jack, Johnny, and Jameson.
Jameson, Irish whiskey,
Yeah, it's the four horsemen. All right.
good stuff.
Yeah. Anyways, what am I
Experiencing
listening? Yeah,
before we
listening.
eat next time. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I do have a treat for you this time around, as I said before, going off on a tangent. I have selected for you the 2004 film Doom. Now,
Oh, Vin
before you get
Diesel. Is
excited,
that Vin Diesel?
it is not. It's also not the movie with Carl Urban and The Rock. This movie
Wait,
is
Vin
spelled.
Diesel was in Vin wasn't Vin Diesel in the 2005? That's not the one though, right?
It's not the one. No,
Which one?
it's this is spelled Dhoom in Wikipedia, if you like. It is a action thriller film from India, Hindi language. So you can
Tyson.
trust me, it's
I
good.
can I can imagine the downloads on this episode. Okay.
Uh huh. Well, is that good or bad?
I mean, I don't know. I'll
so
do it. I'll do it.
I'll, let me read you the first paragraph real quick, or at least I'll skip around a little bit.
I
Okay,
mean,
so
I
Doom.
don't know,
Hmm?
but I'll do it. But I mean, I don't know the downloads, but this is a whatever, this is a fun. I'll do it. Here,
Uh oh,
can you see this?
I can see. Yeah,
What's
like
the
we're on
name
the
of it?
Doom. Dhoom. There's three of them. They
2004.
Yeah, it's the first movie in a trilogy, 2004. There it
Okay.
is.
All right,
It's
I'll
it's
do it.
it's got fast cars, it's got hand-to-hand combat, it's got crime, it's got motorcycles, it's got action, it's got a constantly moving
You can tell
camera,
my excitement for
it's
this.
got sass, it's got class, it's got
How do I find it?
you can watch it on Amazon Prime if you have Prime.
I can bum off my parents.
Okay.
All right.
But yes, it's on Prime. I don't know if it's on other stuff.
My
You can always
excitement level is off the charts for this.
uh hello.
And
I've
that
joined your meeting.
that that eye roll was probably prevalent.
I
No,
could
all jokes aside.
couldn't actually see your eye roll because we were off on the side on a little part of the screen as well. Now I can see you because you're on the anyway, yeah.
How about we make a deal? I'll do this
Hmm.
if we stay a little bit mainstream with America, okay?
Next
Moving
time.
moving forward. Is that a fair deal?
Oh, I
Try
guess.
to. I said try to. I
Okay.
said try. I
Now
said try.
I wouldn't try to I wouldn't pick out something if I didn't think that you might enjoy it, if I thought you would absolutely hate it, basically. But I don't know.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that is part of this
That's a
experiment.
fair
Yeah.
deal though, right? I'm not
Yeah, I think
saying
so.
it has to be a American movie. I'm just saying let's think about it a little more.
Okay.
That's a fair deal. No, that's a fair deal.
Sure, we
That's a
can
fair
think
deal.
about it. Absolutely.
That's a
Yeah.
fair deal.
So yes, this one is. I started rewatching it a little bit earlier today because I
And
hadn't
I've
actually
never
seen it.
seen it. I've
You
never
know,
seen it.
it's got a real strong opening. Like the first, how far did I get into it? Let me check real quick. uh, it's been a couple of years since I saw it, but I got
How'd you stumble upon this one?
well, okay, so um, I was looking for stuff to watch back in 2018, and as my child was gestating, and I realized I had never gotten into seeing Bollywood, although I'd always been interested in it. So I found a preview for a movie that looked like a Pirates of the Caribbean kind of movie, like it was period
All right,
movie.
there. Yeah.
And it's called Thugs of Hindostan. So I watched the trailer of that, and I was like, this looks awesome. And then I watched it on Prime, and I was like, this is awesome. And I had to show my wife. Then I'm like, well, what do I watch next? So I found that the movie Thugs of Hindustan had been directed by the person who directed at least one of the Doom movies. So I was like, well, if he directed Doom 3, I should at least see what Doom 1 is. So I went back and watched Doom 1, and I ended up watching 2 and 3, and they just get better and better. So Doom 2, Doom 3, Thugs of Hindustan, great quartet of films. That's how I was exposed to it. Was just completely by accident. Nobody recommended it to me. It was just like I just found it basically, and was like, oh, I see why people like this. So I was, yeah. So
All right. Well, I'm
that
excited. I'm excited about it.
awesome.
I am. I just whine on here, and you deal with it.
Oh,
So
it's fine.
I want to be fair. So that was a joke. There's no cap on what you can and can't pick. I was joking, Tyson. But
Okay, it's hard to
but
tell.
but I really am excited because you wouldn't pick trash for me to listen to or watch, right? You would never.
Not on purpose.
You
I
would
haven't.
never.
I haven't so far. Yeah.
Yeah. But the Iron Chef was not my cup of tea.
No,
Although
no.
it wasn't bad. I feel like I'm whining for no reason. I feel like I'm gonna like this.
How do you feel about the Fast and Furious movies?
They're good. I like them.
I think you'll find things in this that you'll like too, because it's
Yeah. I'm
definitely
just a
borrowing.
whiner. I'm just a whiner.
Okay,
That's
so
just what I do.
it'll be fun to hear your. Not only will it be fun to hear what you have to say about it, but it'll be fun for me to revisit these movies because chances are I'm going to also watch Doom 2 and Doom 3 by the time we
Hmm.
reconvene. They're just they were I found them to be such a good time, and I mean, but also just it's like I don't know, it's like finding something you never knew existed that was fun. I don't know how else to describe that thing. It's just that experience. I don't know if you've ever like picked up a comic book that you never would have before and been like, wow, this is actually awesome. Or any movie. Like, you ever had a movie where you're like, I don't know what this is, but I got time to burn, so you watch it and then you're like, oh, this is much better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, that's
Like
what I thought about The Town. Ben
The Town.
Affleck, the Ben
Oh yeah,
Affleck, and it's like, oh, I
I've
got
heard
time
good
to
things
burn.
about that.
Yeah, Blake Lively and
Sure, Ryan Reynolds' wife.
Jeremy Renner. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, that's what I thought about that movie. But anyways,
I'll have to
all
check that one out
right,
someday.
all
Hmm.
right. You got your song maker ready.
Oh,
You know,
I will get it ready.
so let's let's do it. Let's see. Let's put if Pocahontas was in the Island movie. Pocahontas,
Uh-huh.
the Island 2005. And see what it
Okay, I'm gonna write the prompt. A song.
about
Excuse me.
Pocahontas in the Island 2005.
So Pocahontas, the historical figure, if
Yep.
she was okay.
If she was in the island,
Yes, I've got to write these things. Okay, if the historical, sorry about it, if the historical figure,
all right. Pocahontas, if she
P
was in the
O
island,
Poco Poco Poca.
POC,
Uh huh.
I think it's
A or
A,
O.
I think it's
Pontaz.
POCA
Mm-hmm.
HA,
H-A.
or excuse me,
Okay. All right. Yep.
POCAHONTAS.
Yep. Okay. All right. Good. If the man was in the movie, sorry, the 2005
Mm-hmm.
movie, quotes, the island.
All
Oh,
right.
not the Osland, the island. Osland isn't a word, as far as I know. All right, and I'm not gonna seed it.
Let's
It's
see
gonna
what
be
it does.
completely random. Make sure it's 2 minutes long. Click
You
all those
know,
things to make sure that the parameters are all.
I gotta hit my quota.
Flubeflibed. Yes, I hear you. I don't, I don't mind like verbal repetitions. In fact, I made a song a couple weeks ago
Me saying
called "It's Like Whatever."
probably entertains you.
Yeah,
So
in insofar as that I notice it. Auto. All right, cool. So my our quote is in there and create. Now I just have to wait,
because
participate.
I say to bridge sentences,
Mm-hmm.
So
I do.
oh man, the island. Want to go to the island.
You
I,
want to go.
I like how they were talking about like I like how they're talking about like the memory, the memory and then Scarlett Johansson was like, I got a bike, you know, and then the guy was like, no, they're all the same. They just rotate different parts of the story. They feed them a story, the clones. Like, the
Yes.
little images that they're staring up at while they're
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
vegetables.
Yeah, he knows the narrative that they implant them with. That's
Mm.
interesting. Yeah, that's like it's like
Yeah,
Blade
and then
Runner.
when Ewan McGregor is drinking that whiskey, he's like, "Where is that stuff? What is that stuff?"
Mm-hmm.
He's like letting him drink the whiskey. Another far-fetched thing is like letting the clone have the key to the next sector, like because they're lazy.
Um,
They're lazy. The people that work at this place.
mm-hmm.
What do they call it? The turnkey or whatever. They give them the key to get something to come back or
Yeah, it's
whatever.
like they understand what's going on somehow, and they have
Yeah,
the.
like they're letting them be their assistants because they're lazy, and then he that's how he gets up to the next sector is that he takes the key
I
from
guess there's
the
yeah from the
they give him
there's
they give him the key to do something to come right back.
you definitely get the sense that we're well. I mean, obviously, because it's a movie, we're meeting characters on the exact point at which right before things go wrong, basically, and that's that because otherwise, we'd spend more time with them living out their lives, wanting to go to the island, but just doing more stuff, whatever it is they're doing. Like with Ethan Phillips, the great Ethan Phillips. You know, where do these wires go? Or no, it was the other guy, but Ethan Phillips is there too. He might have never actually said that. Do you remember him from like? Did you ever watch Deep Space Nine?
Vaguely.
See, neither did I, but he was on that. He was also on a sitcom I did watch when I was younger called Benson, and he was Pete on Benson. He was also in the first Critters movie. So the guy he had long
All
hair. He's
right,
kind
it
of an
was
older
this
gentleman.
Deep Space Nine, a
Ethan
spin-off
Phillips. Yeah, that
of
guy.
Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Correct.
Benjamin Sisko. I mean,
Benjamin Sisko. Yes, the Avery Brooks. That's who Benjamin Sisko was.
but
Yeah.
no, they started doing mass winnings to the island once shit
Mm-hmm.
started getting south.
Mass winnings. Yes, I
Yeah.
remember. It's like, oh
The
no, they're going to kill them all.
randomizer, I mean,
They're just trying to figure out how to flush the toilet at that point. And it was really, really unsettling, They're like, we gotta get rid of all these clones. How are we
yeah.
gonna do that? Like, why didn't they just like walk up to, well, obviously because it
Another
cause a
funny
panic.
part was when it took forever for them to get the brain scan from Ewan McGregor, but then later in the movie, the little thing that in his eye, the little bug that goes into his eye, the brain scan.
Yeah, I wanted to mention
But
that.
then later in the movie, it took like a minute to get the other people. They were like, we got more back, and the whole generation's infected. I'm like,
Hmm.
wait a minute, it took like it took like 2 days to get you McGregor's results. And then
Right.
all of a sudden they got everybody's back.
That was actually a really good payoff of that technology that they showed
No, but
entering his
that's
body
just
and then
just like it was just funny.
well, I was just wondering about those things because I was like, oh, when they put him in him, I was like, well, they're either not going to show them coming out of him or they're going to, and they
Yeah, he
did.
ended up,
So that part of the story was the movie does a lot of things right.
but there's a
it
lot of things wrong. Like
maybe not a
like
lot.
the whole generation got the little eye thing in the eyes, like little bugs in the eyes. Like why not show that? Why not show everyone else getting that whole
Being scanned.
generation got scanned? It's like
Yeah, oh yeah, because they just sort of make the decision based on the
yeah,
one that they got to
like the
terminate
whole
everybody.
generation.
Well, that's
You
panic,
know how long that
obviously.
would take?
I think that's a commentary on how people behave when they're beholden to like shareholders and stuff. The idea that they gotta like make quick and terrible decisions to make sure that the people that invested money in them don't lose their money. And when people lose humanity real quick when big money's in it. So we've got two results. We've got
All
Beyond the
right.
Island's Echoes is one of the names, and Rebel Heart Unclaimed.
All right, do the first one.
Okay, Beyond the Island's Echoes. Let me just turn this
All
down. So,
right. Here we go.
now it's
She's not a girl who follows trends. Oh yeah.
what?
In a world where the clones pretend there's a beacon within her soul, dancing through fields of the whispers of tales that the stars expose.
Would sound better on headphones.
Hey, this is my jam.
Here's the chorus. Wait.
Wires, Pocahontas leads the way. Crafted worlds and hidden desires echoes through the night and day. She's not tied to their endless
So there's
Hold
there's
on.
more.
Who am I to watch her soar
That was good.
out beyond the deceiving grips of the ones who control and claim, unshamed and walking her own floor. In this place of dreams and wires, Pocahontas leads
The way.
It's very satisfying to hear.
Worlds and hidden desires echoes through the
Night and day.
Bridge.
Finding truth
I like
in
this.
shadows gleam.
It's not bad.
Her spirit never
Ver-
bows, defying rules in every scene.
Very close harmony.
She wakes the island's vows.
And
In this
one more chorus.
place of dreams and wires,
Pocahontas
Pocahontas
leads the way.
yeah,
Crafted worlds and
good.
hidden desires echoes through the night and day.
Day.
and then it goes on for a little bit
That's-
longer.
Yeah, so Pocahontas was leading the way.
Not bad.
All right. That's what would happen if she was in the island.
I guess so.
She would lead the way out.
She would lead the way.
So
That's
are they
interesting.
saying, is that song saying that the Pocahontas would be part of the police?
Maybe it's interesting that they put in these do's like twice, and that's in the verse. But there's my favorite.
'cause
Go ahead.
It does reference the movie because it says clones.
Mm-hmm.
So it actually picked up the right. It actually picked up the right movie.
Yes, it does.
It did say clones. So it just basically is a cluster F. Like we don't know what you're asking, but we're just gonna throw everything and figure something out.
Yeah, it's interesting because it has to take a point of view at some point and decide that before it gives it to you. As long as because this one didn't glitch, although it does have some interesting choices. So it says she's not a girl who follows trends, and then it says do 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 do. Oh yeah, in a world where the clones pretend, there's a beacon
Mhm.
within her soul, dancing through fields of the whispers of tales that the stars expose. And then the chorus is in this place of dreams and wires. Pocahontas leads the way, crafted worlds and hidden desires, echoes through the night and day. And then probably my favorite part is it says she's not tied to their endless scripts. And then in parentheses it says, "Who am I?" And they actually
Yeah.
Who am I? And I was like, oh, that's fun. And then it says do 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 again. Watch her soar, etc. Out beyond the deceiving grips of the ones who control and claim, unchained and walking her own floor. It's for it makes metaphors, and sometimes it uses weird word choices.
I think it's saying that Pocahontas would be the one that would get him out. It makes sense.
Sure, yeah.
Because she's a leader.
So we should probably maybe have go ahead.
She'd be the one. All right, Tyson.
Mhm.
I'm looking forward to Doom. Okay.
Okay.
Where
You
can
wanna hear the
people
other
find
one,
you
or-
on social media? No.
Maybe I'll send it to
We got it figured out. She led
Sounds
them
good.
the way. All right. Man, is that a whole shot? What is that? Like, do you take a
It's a,
whole
it's a
shot?
tumbler. I filled it up to here, so I've just sort of been sipping at it, but I realized that it's
All right.
a little more than a shot. It's definitely not a double shot. Anyway, so I don't think it is. If I filled that up the whole way, that would be way too much, especially straight. Anyway, well, people can find me at www.tysonsinger.com. I have all sorts of things there, and if you go to my YouTube channel, it's that's where I put a lot of my my song content and also my video game show, which I just had a recent entry. I put up a game for the Nintendo Switch called Dentist Bling. Put up a video of me playing it. So if you like watching people play video games, this is another video of that.
How's
Other than that,
how's
go
Hunter
ahead.
doing? You know,
Yeah, he seems to be doing better. He's doing well.
I ask about him every episode, so I got to continue that.
We actually recorded a new episode last night.
Oh, you know,
Mhm.
Antisocial Show. Where can they find it?
Go to www.tysonsinger.com because that's where you find the links to all that. Also, if you look for it on Apple or one of those services, you're going to have to put in the phrase "sounds" by Tyson Sainer because that's through SoundCloud. That's how it shows up on the feed. But it is called.
I wonder what he thinks of this one time only thing.
I don't know that he's heard it. I'll have to
Yeah.
ask him. He might not have known that it exists. It's hard to say. He's been pretty busy, but he introduced a new person to the podcast, which I'm not sure when it's coming out because I got to edit it. So I edit this one. I edit that one, I should say. And anyway, the new character is interesting. It's a person called Abyss. And that's all I'll say about that.
Like the wrestler?
Is there a wrestler called Abyss?
Yeah.
It's not surprising. Of course, there's one called Everything, I imagine.
Oh, all right.
If you told me there wasn't one called Sewer Pile, I would be surprised.
All right, you can find Sensibly Cynical, which is what this is released on, wherever you get your podcasts, at Sensibly Cynical. On Instagram, Cynical Sensibly on X. You know, I hear about this Blue Sky. I got to get on that. Are you on that? Are you on that?
No, I'm thinking about moving to Blue Sky as well.
Maybe we could put one time only on there, you know.
Sure. It's free like Twitter was, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's something I could definitely. I don't have a reason not to. I might as well help. Be part of a new community over there and in Musk Free Zone. So
all right. Well, Tyson, this was awesome. Yeah. Okay,
Sean, it's been an honor and a privilege.
Now it's time to go. We both go to the island together. Okay, you ready?
Mm-hmm. Was there a catchphrase? I can't remember.
No, we're going to the island right now. They're getting
ready
right
now.
Yeah, they're getting ready to take our parts. Oh, here they come.
Yeah, so they're
That's it.
Oh no, he's been darted.
I've been vanquished. They take my arms.
Oh, is that what? Oh yeah. Oh, I got you by the arms. Yeah.
Yeah. See.
He's being taken off.
Sean's getting arrested on the podcast. You know, I'm kidding. All right. Take care, everybody. Until next time, adios.
Peace.